All right, welcome everyone to another deep dive. Today we're going to be looking at something pretty fascinating, I think.
Yeah,
Kind of where three big things are all coming together at the same time.
absolutely.
Cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, and electric vehicles.
Yeah, they're all kind of they're all kind of intertwined now.
Right, and we've got some really cool sources to dig into today.
A lot of new reports.
Yeah, we've got ENISA's 2024 report on the state of cybersecurity in the EU.
Which is the first one they've released under NIS2.
Uh-huh, yep. And then we've got McKinsey and Company's AI in the workplace.
Report for 2025?
That's right. Yep. And we've got the International Energy Agency's Global EV Outlook 2024,
That's right.
plus a bunch of just current like industry news and articles and
There's
things.
a lot of good stuff.
So this should be fun. I think
Yeah.
the big thing that makes this so interesting is just how these
Aren't
fields,
just kind of existing alongside each other, they're
yeah,
actually influencing each other.
yeah, like they're all kind of impacting each other at the same time.
Yeah, AI is a tool, but it's also a threat in cybersecurity and a key part of electric vehicles.
And at the same time, the EVs are becoming so connected and AI is getting so widely adopted. It's just creating all kinds of uh, new ways to be attacked.
Exactly.
So that's what we're going to dig into.
Yeah.
Our goal today really is just to figure out what are the most important things for us to understand in all this.
Extract those insights.
Yeah, because there's a lot here, right?
There is.
So we're going to do our best, and hopefully you walk away with some good knowledge about where things are headed in 2025 and beyond with these technologies.
Absolutely.
So let's start, I guess, with that cybersecurity landscape.
Yeah, let's talk about that ANESA report first.
Okay.
So as I mentioned, this is their first one that they've released under that new NIS2 directive,
Okay.
which is essentially kind of a new set of cybersecurity rules.
Okay, for the whole EU.
Yeah, it's for the whole EU, trying to raise the bar for cybersecurity in all the member states.
So this report is kind of like telling everybody, hey, here's where we stand.
Okay. Yeah, giving them an evidence-based kind of view of what the landscape looks like at the EU level, national level, societal level,
Okay.
so that policymakers can see, where the shortcomings are and what needs to be done to really improve things.
Okay, well, it sounds like they've got their work cut out for them.
It seems like it.
When we look at the threats that are coming up, what are people saying are the big cybersecurity issues heading into 2025?
Well, AI is certainly one of the top concerns.
I bet, yeah.
It's a big one because it's changing the game in terms of how attacks are carried out.
So this is not even just using AI for good. It's AI being used by bad actors.
Right, exactly. Attackers are using AI to make their attacks more automated, more sophisticated.
It's scary to think about.
It is scary because you're talking about phishing attacks that are so convincing that you can't tell the difference.
Like the average person wouldn't even know.
I wouldn't know. And then there are deep fakes,
Uh-huh.
which, we saw that crazy example with that $25 million finance worker scam.
Yeah, where they literally faked a CEO's voice.
Yeah, they faked his voice perfectly and tricked somebody into transferring a huge sum of money.
And that's probably just the tip of the iceberg. I mean,
Probably just beginning.
if you can do that, what else can you do?
Right, exactly. And what's interesting is that the cybersecurity world is almost playing catch up to how fast businesses are adopting AI.
So it's almost like businesses are deploying AI, and then cybersecurity has to figure out how to secure it after the fact.
Yeah, and sometimes the bad guys get there first.
Oh, that's not good. It's a concern, definitely.
I was reading also about this whole thing about insider threats.
Yeah.
And I think I have a very narrow view of what that is, a disgruntled employee or something.
Yeah, it's not always that simple anymore.
What is it now then?
Well, there's a growing trend of nation states using talent acquisition to infiltrate organizations.
So it's like spies.
It's like modern day espionage.
Wow.
They're not necessarily looking for, just to steal money.
Okay.
They're trying to get their hands on valuable intellectual property or to disrupt operations. So that's nation state actors trying to impact other countries or companies in other countries. They're just getting their people in.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
There is this example with KnowBe4, a cybersecurity company.
Okay.
They identified a North Korean hacker who was applying for an IT position
Wow.
even before the onboarding process had officially begun.
So they were already in the system.
Yeah, they were trying to get in. So it just shows you how sophisticated these operations are.
So we really need to be thinking about better security measures during hiring
Absolutely.
and also just monitoring for insider threats all the time.
Continuous monitoring is key.
So this is just getting more complicated.
Yeah, it's not getting any easier.
And then you layer on top of that the whole global political climate right now.
Right, all the geopolitical tensions definitely have an impact.
It feels like it's just fueling all this cyber activity.
It is nation-state actors, hacktivist groups, they're all targeting organizations to achieve their political goals.
Like I was reading about those warnings from the UK about Russia's cyber capabilities
Yeah,
and how the U.S. Cyber Command is really focused on China and its potential to like disrupt critical infrastructure here in the U.S.
right.
It's scary stuff.
It is scary because it just shows you that, cybersecurity is right at the forefront of all these international conflicts. So for everyone out there, cyber attacks can come from anywhere, and they can be politically motivated.
So it's not just about stealing data anymore. It's about disrupting entire countries.
Right.
And then, of course, there's all the like traditional cyber attacks that we've been dealing with forever,
Right. The ones that never seem to go away.
like ransomware.
Ransomware's still a huge problem.
Yeah, but I feel like it's getting worse.
It is getting worse.
It's not just encrypting your data anymore, is it?
No, it's not just about encrypting data. It's about causing major business disruption.
Okay.
Attackers are going after high-value organizations, what they call big game hunting. And they're really aiming to cripple operations to get those big ransom payments.
So they just want to shut you down completely.
They want to shut you down completely because that's how they get the most leverage.
That's so scary, and it impacts like everything, right?
Everything, supply chains, critical services, you name it.
Okay, so you've got your traditional ransomware attacks, and then you've got all this nation-state stuff.
Yeah.
And then to make matters even worse, you've got zero-day vulnerabilities.
Right.
This is stuff that we don't even know about yet.
Exactly. These are vulnerabilities that haven't been publicly disclosed or patched.
So you can't even protect yourself because you don't know.
Right. And they're being exploited by everyone from nation states to ransomware operators.
So like CISA and the NSA.
Yeah, they identified 11 zero-day vulnerabilities in the top 15 most exploited vulnerabilities just last year.
Wow.
So it's a constant race to stay ahead of these threats.
Like whack-a-mole almost, right?
It really is.
One pops up, you fix it, another one pops up somewhere else.
And you never know where the next one's coming from.
And we're so reliant on all these third-party providers now.
Right. Our dependence on third parties is a huge vulnerability.
That's another thing that I just don't think people think about very often.
Yeah, and it's something that can have massive ripple effects.
Yeah.
Remember the cyber attack on CDK Global?
Yeah, I think I read about that.
Yeah, it disrupted thousands of car dealerships.
Oh, wow.
And then there was the attack on Change Healthcare, which had a huge impact on the whole healthcare industry.
Yeah.
So these breaches can be incredibly damaging.
So it's not enough to just secure our own systems. We've got to be thinking about all the companies that we work with.
Exactly. You need to understand their security posture, especially for things like exposed web apps and APIs.
Okay.
That's where a lot of these attacks come in.
This is making my head spin.
It is a lot to keep track of.
It sounds like companies are starting to realize that they need a more unified approach to security.
Yeah, there's a definite trend towards integrating security tools. 88% of CIOs say they want a single platform that combines AI-powered security networking and traditional security.
That makes sense. I mean, if you're trying to fight all these different attacks from all these different places, you've got to have a centralized way to see everything.
Exactly, a single pane of glass.
That's the phrase I was looking for.
Yeah, a single pane of glass so you can see what's going on and respond effectively.
But of course, all these fancy tools are only as good as the people using them.
Right.
And I know the cybersecurity talent shortage is still a huge issue.
It's a major issue, and it's not just about filling empty positions.
Right.
It's about upskilling the people we already have so they can keep up with these threats.
Because the threats are constantly changing.
They're constantly changing and getting more sophisticated.
So how do you even keep up?
It's a challenge we need to focus on training in areas like AI-driven attacks and threats to operational technology OT environments.
Because those are becoming more common.
Right.
So if you don't have people who know how to deal with them, we're in trouble.
Gartner's predicting that by 2025, more than half of all cyber incidents will be due to lack of talent or human error.
Wow, that's scary.
It is scary, so we need to take this seriously.
Okay, I think I'm sufficiently terrified of cyber attacks right now.
Hopefully not too terrified.
Maybe a little.
Just enough to be aware.
So let's talk about something a little bit more fun.
Okay.
What's happening with cyber insurance?
Well, the cyber insurance industry is maturing, which means a couple of things.
What does that mean for me?
Well, for you, it probably means higher premiums.
Oh, great.
And more strict policy terms.
So it's going to cost more and be harder to get.
Basically, yeah. But the good news is that the insurance industry can actually help to improve cybersecurity practices.
Oh, how so?
Well, they can start setting specific requirements for coverage,
Okay.
And that can incentivize companies to adopt stronger security measures.
So if you want insurance, you've got to have your stuff together.
Yeah, basically, you got to prove that you're taking security seriously.
Makes sense.
So it's not all bad news.
Okay, so we've got insurance companies kind of pushing companies in the right direction.
Yeah.
And then we've got the CSOs, the Chief Information Security Officers.
Yeah, they're definitely under more scrutiny these days.
I bet. I mean, they're the ones who are ultimately responsible if something bad happens.
They're seen as strategic leaders, but that also means more personal liability.
So, like, what if there's a big data breach? Can they be held personally responsible?
Yeah, there have been some high-profile cases, like with Joseph Sullivan from Uber
I think I remember that.
and the SEC lawsuit against SolarWinds CISO.
So it's not just the company that's on the hook anymore.
No, the individuals can be held accountable too.
Wow, that's a lot of pressure.
It is a lot of pressure. And, with the possibility of a new administration coming in, who knows what changes we might see in terms of regulations.
In leadership.
Right, leadership at agencies like CISA and the overall approach to AI too.
Yeah, all that stuff could change.
Definitely.
Okay, so cybersecurity is, as we expected, kind of a mess.
A bit of a mixed bag.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there. So let's switch gears now and talk about AI.
Okay, sounds good.
It really feels like we're at a tipping point with AI right now.
It does. It feels like it's about to become so much more integrated into our lives.
Like it's not just a tool anymore, it's becoming a part of everything.
Right, it's becoming part of our work, our homes, everything.
So what's Microsoft saying about all this?
Well, they're saying that in 2025, AI is going to make a big transition
Okay.
from being primarily a specialized tool to being an integral component of our lives, both professionally and personally.
So it's almost like it's graduating.
It is. It's graduating to a new level,
Okay.
and we're seeing the emergence of more autonomous AI agents,
Okay.
which are designed to simplify a whole range of tasks.
So it's not just about like asking a chatbot a question anymore.
No, it's about AI actually taking action for us.
Oh, wow.
And there's a lot of optimism about AI's potential to address some of the big global challenges.
Like what kind of challenges?
Things like climate change, healthcare,
Yeah.
really big issues. And this progress is largely driven by all the advancements in AI's ability to process information, to learn to reason more effectively.
So it's getting smarter.
It's getting much smarter.
Okay.
And as it gets smarter, it can do more for us.
So it's not just chatbots and like simple AI tools anymore. These models are becoming way more capable and versatile.
Absolutely. We're seeing the development of what they're calling frontier models.
Oh, what's that?
These are AI systems that can handle a much broader range of tasks,
Okay.
like generating really sophisticated writing,
Okay.
even writing computer code.
Oh, wow. So these are like super powerful AI models that can do all kinds of things.
Right, they're general purpose models.
Okay.
But we're also seeing more specialized models that are tailored to specific industries and applications.
So it's like AI for everything.
It's AI for everything, but I think the most transformative trend for people to understand is the emergence of these AI agents.
Yeah, that's what Microsoft was talking about a lot.
Right. Charles Lamanna from Microsoft, he said that these agents are going to be the apps of the AI era.
Okay, I'm still not exactly clear on what that means. What do these agents actually do?
Well, instead of just, asking AI a question and getting an answer,
Okay.
these agents can actually take action on our behalf.
Okay, so give me an example.
Okay, so imagine an agent that can not only sift through your emails and summarize your meeting notes,
Uh-huh.
but it can also process your payments, manage your supply chain, and even handle some HR functions.
Oh, wow. So it's like having a personal assistant, but it's AI.
Exactly. And the key here is that while these agents will have more autonomy,
Okay.
humans will still be overseeing them.
Okay, so it's not like the AI is completely taking over.
Not yet, anyway.
Okay.
But what's also interesting is that it's becoming easier to create these agents.
Oh, so it's not just big companies that are going to be doing this.
Right. There are platforms like Microsoft's Copilot Studio that allow anyone to build their own agents
Without even needing to know how to code.
without any coding experience.
Okay.
And then there are tools like Azure AI Foundry for professionally developers who want more advanced capabilities.
So you've got these different levels of tools for creating agents.
Yeah, and the expectation is that we're going to see a whole bunch of these agents working independently and together.
It's almost like a little AI ecosystem.
Yeah, a constellation of agents.
That's a cool phrase.
Yeah, it's a good way to think about it.
So these AI agents are going to help us with work, but it sounds like they're also going to be a big part of our everyday lives.
Oh, absolutely. AI companions are going to become more common.
Okay.
Think about tools like Microsoft Copilot. evolving to support all kinds of daily tasks, like
Okay.
summarizing the news, understanding what you're looking at online, helping you make decisions like arranging furniture in your home.
So it's like having an AI friend,
Kind of.
but
Yeah.
one that's actually useful.
Right, exactly. And the expectation is that these interactions will not only become more accurate,
Okay.
but they'll also develop more emotional intelligence.
Oh,
So
wow.
they'll be more intuitive and helpful.
So it's not just about like cold, hard data anymore. It's about the AI actually understanding our needs and our emotions.
Yeah, in a way.
That's kind of freaky.
It is a little freaky, but it's also exciting.
Yeah. I mean, if it can help us, that's great, but it's definitely a little unsettling to think about.
It is.
So we've talked about how powerful AI is becoming, but what about the environmental impact of all this?
Yeah, that's a big concern.
I mean, it takes a ton of computing power to train and run all these models.
It does, and the industry is very aware of that.
Okay.
There's a huge focus on making AI more resource efficient.
Okay.
So we're seeing a lot of efforts to reduce energy consumption in data centers.
Like what kinds of things?
Things like using more efficient hardware,
Okay.
advanced liquid cooling technologies, and even targets for zero water cooling.
Oh, wow.
Companies like Microsoft are really leading the way here.
Okay.
They've set some ambitious sustainability goals.
Okay.
They want to be carbon negative, water positive, and achieve zero waste by 2030.
Wow. That's a big goal.
It is a big goal, but they're putting their money where their mouth is.
Okay.
They're investing heavily in low carbon building materials and renewable energy sources.
Like what kinds of renewables?
Wind, solar, nuclear, all the big ones.
So they're really trying to make their operations as sustainable as possible.
Yeah, they're trying to walk the walk.
It's good to see that they're taking this seriously.
It is, because it's a big issue.
It's not just about the energy consumption. It's about the whole life cycle of these technologies.
Right, from manufacturing to disposal.
Yeah. And it's good to see that they're thinking about all those aspects.
They're trying to be more holistic in their approach.
Okay. That's encouraging. So it sounds like sustainability is being built into these AI systems.
It is. It's becoming a priority.
And it also sounds like we're going to have more control over how AI is used in our workplaces.
Yeah, there's a growing emphasis on customization and control.
So what does that mean?
Well, it means that administrators will have tools that allow them to define how AI is used. For example, in Microsoft 365 Copilot,
Okay.
administrators can set limits on the types of content that are allowed.
So you can make sure that the AI is being used appropriately for your workplace.
Exactly. You can make sure it's aligned with your company's values and policies.
I think that makes sense.
So you have that extra layer of control.
Okay. But it's not all about work,
Mm-hmm.
right? AI is also doing some amazing things in the world of science.
Yeah, AI is really accelerating scientific breakthroughs.
What kinds of breakthroughs are we talking
Well, there are advancements in things like supercomputing,
about? Okay.
weather forecasting,
Okay.
and even the development of sustainable materials and the discovery of new drugs.
So AI is being used to solve all these really complex problems.
Right, it's helping researchers to do things that they couldn't do before.
Give me an example.
Okay, well, Microsoft Research developed this AI-driven protein simulation system.
Okay.
It's called AI2BMD.
AI2BMD.
Yeah, and it can dramatically speed up the process of identifying potential new drugs.
Oh, wow. So it's like AI is helping us to cure diseases.
Well, it's helping us to find new drugs faster,
Okay.
which could lead to cures down the road.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's really exciting to see what AI can do in this space.
So we've got AI helping us at work, helping us at home, and helping us to solve some of the world's biggest problems.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
But I know there are also some concerns about how AI is going to impact the workplace.
Yeah, there are some challenges that we need to address.
What's McKinsey saying about this?
Well, McKinsey did a lot of research on this, and they found that there's a bit of a disconnect between business leaders and employees.
Oh, how so?
Well, most companies are planning to invest more in AI,
Okay.
but only a very small percentage, like around 1%, feel like their AI deployment is mature.
Okay, what does that mean?
It means that they're fully integrated AI into their operations, and they're seeing significant results.
So most companies are still in the early stages of adopting AI.
Yeah, they're still figuring things out.
Okay.
But what's interesting is that employees are actually more ready for AI than their leaders might think. Yeah, they're using AI tools regularly. They believe that AI is going to change the way they work.
Yeah.
And they're eager to learn new AI skills.
So they're not afraid of it.
Not necessarily, no.
Okay, but I'm sure some people are.
Oh, yeah. There's definitely a minority of employees who are apprehensive,
All right.
and they're going to need support and training.
Yeah, to help them adapt.
Exactly. But overall, it seems like employees are pretty open to AI,
Okay.
and millennials in particular are big advocates for AI adoption.
So they're the ones who are really pushing for this.
They're the ones who are driving the change.
So it's not just about the technology itself. It's about the people and the culture.
Right. It's about how we adapt as a society.
Yeah.
And McKinsey really emphasizes that successfully integrating AI is not just a technology challenge.
It's a business challenge.
It's a business challenge, exactly.
So you need to have leadership alignment. You
Mhm.
need to address potential roadblocks, and you need to be willing to rethink how you do things.
Absolutely.
And this whole idea of agentic AI that we talked about earlier, that's a big part of this transformation.
Right, where AI can actually take actions on its own.
Yeah,
And a lot of software companies are building this into their platforms.
like Salesforce.
Yeah, Salesforce has their Agentforce platform.
So it's becoming more and more common.
It is, and it's going to change the way we work in a big way.
But AI is still kind of a black box for a lot of people.
Yeah, transparency is a big issue.
I mean, how do we know that these AI systems are making the right decisions?
Right, how do we know that they're not biased or discriminatory?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of work being done to make AI more transparent and explainable.
Okay, so that we can understand how it works.
Exactly, and there are some initiatives like the Stanford CRFM Transparency Index
Okay.
that are tracking progress in this area.
Okay.
And the good news is that employees generally trust their employers to use AI ethically.
More than they trust other institutions.
Right. They believe that their companies are going to do the right thing.
That's good to hear.
It is, but there's still some concerns.
Like what is...
Well, cybersecurity risks are a big one.
Yeah, because if someone hacks into an AI system, they could do a lot of damage.
Exactly. And there are concerns about the accuracy of AI outputs.
Okay.
You know, what if the AI makes a mistake?
Yeah.
And then there are privacy concerns.
Yeah. AI systems collect a lot of data about us.
They do, and there's the potential for that data to be misused.
Yeah, that's a big worry.
And there's the risk of intellectual property infringement.
Okay.
You know, what if AI is used to create something new? Who owns the rights to that creation?
Yeah, that's a good question.
And of course, there are concerns about workforce displacement.
Right. Are robots going to take our jobs?
That's the big question.
So there's a lot to think about here.
There is. It's a complex issue.
But despite all the challenges, there's also a lot of optimism about AI.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of potential.
Yeah.
Business executives are very optimistic about the potential for AI to drive revenue growth.
Okay.
And there's a real belief that AI can revolutionize entire industries.
So it's not just about incremental improvements, it's about fundamental change.
It's about changing the game completely.
Okay. But there are some roadblocks.
There are some challenges, yeah.
Like what?
Well, leadership alignment is key.
Okay.
Everyone needs to be on the same page.
Yeah.
And then there's the cost uncertainty.
Yeah. AI can be expensive.
It can be very expensive, and it's hard to know how much it's going to cost to implement and maintain.
And then there's the whole issue of workforce planning.
Right. How do we prepare our workforce for the changes that AI is going to bring?
And then there's supply chain dependencies.
Right. A lot of AI relies on specialized hardware and software.
So if there's a disruption in the supply chain that could impact AI development.
Exactly. And then there's the demand for explainability.
Okay.
People want to understand how AI works.
Yeah.
They don't want to just trust it blindly.
So there's a lot to figure out.
There is a lot to figure out, but the potential is huge.
Okay, so let's look ahead now to like 2025, 2026. What are some of the big trends that are going to shape the future of AI?
Well, our sources are pointing to a few key trends.
Yeah.
One is that AI is going to continue to change the way we work.
Okay.
As AI adoption increases, more and more tasks are going to be automated.
Yeah.
And this could lead to a lot of discussions about things like universal basic income
Sure.
as jobs disappear.
Yeah, that's a big one.
It is a big one.
We're going to have to figure out how to deal with that.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, AI itself is going to continue to get smarter.
Right. We're going to see new use cases emerge all the time.
Yeah.
And there's going to be more competition in the AI space.
Okay.
OpenAI is obviously a big player, but there are others like Google.
Uh-huh.
They're coming out with Gemini.
Okay.
And then there are smaller companies like Tabnine and Magic AI
Yeah.
that are doing some interesting things with large context windows.
Okay, so what does that mean?
It means that the AI can understand and process more information at once.
Okay.
So it can generate more complex and nuanced outputs.
Okay, that makes sense.
And we're also seeing advancements in error reduction.
Yeah.
So the AI is becoming more accurate and reliable.
So that's good.
Yeah, that's good.
And AI is also having a big impact on healthcare.
Yeah, AI is really changing the game in healthcare.
What kinds of things are happening?
Well, there are over 650 FDA-approved AI-enabled medical devices now.
Oh, wow. That's a lot.
It is a lot, and most of them are in radiology,
Okay.
but that's expanding into other specialties.
Okay.
And AI is playing a big role in precision medicine.
Okay, what's that?
It's about tailoring treatments to an individual's unique data.
Oh, wow. So it's like personalized medicine.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And AI is also expected to be really important in pharmaceutical development.
Okay.
It can help to accelerate drug discovery,
Oh, okay.
which can reduce costs and failure rates.
Okay.
And there are companies like Verge and Exscientia that are already doing this.
That's
So there's
good.
a lot of potential for AI to really improve healthcare.
It's pretty amazing.
It is pretty amazing.
But there's also the environmental impact to consider.
Right. We talked about the energy consumption,
Yeah.
but there's also the impact of manufacturing
Yeah.
and all the resources that go into creating these AI solutions.
So it's a complex issue.
It is a complex issue, but it's
Yeah.
important to remember that AI can also be used to help the environment,
Oh, yeah.
like with wind farm optimization and smart grids.
So it's a double-edged sword.
It is a double-edged sword.
And then there's the whole issue of AI regulation.
Yeah, governments around the world are starting to pay more attention to AI.
Right.
There are initiatives like the EU AI Act,
Okay.
the U.S. Executive Order on AI,
Okay.
and state-level legislation like the Colorado AI Act.
Okay, so what are they trying to do with these regulations?
Well, they're trying to identify and manage high-risk AI systems,
Okay.
and they're trying to mitigate bias and discrimination.
Okay.
So it's all about responsible AI,
Yeah.
making sure the AI is used for good.
Okay, but I know a lot of people are still pretty skeptical about AI.
Yeah, public trust is low.
I bet.
People are worried about what AI is capable of.
Yeah, I mean, we see all these movies about AI taking over the world.
Right, so it's